If you're trying to build wealth and you're also trying to look wealthy, you're paying a bill you didn't price in. Visibility isn't neutral. It creates a target profile other people react to, and you don't control the reactions. Recognition attracts costs, higher expectations, more requests, more noise, and sometimes real risk. In this video, you'll learn 3 brutal rules of silent wealth. Low signal, high control. Boring exterior. Strong balance sheet. And there's one mistake that ruins silent wealth even for high earners: social proof spending. Let's start with the first rule. Rule 1. Pay the visibility tax less. Protect your downside first. Here's the thing most people miss. The first job of wealth isn't to impress anyone. It's to reduce your downside. Because public success invites friction you don't budget for. When your money is obvious, people treat you differently. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's expensive. Either way, it's a tax. So what does the visibility tax actually look like? First, social pressure. Once people think you have money, your baseline changes. You're the one who can cover it. You're the one who should upgrade. And when you don't, you're not just declining an expense. You're declining an identity people already assigned to you. Second, you can afford it pricing. This can be a contractor who suddenly adds options you didn't request. It can be friends choosing a pricier place because they assume you're fine. It can even be a deal where the terms get worse because you look like you won't negotiate. The details vary, but the pattern is consistent. If you look flush, you lose leverage. Third, inbound noise. The more visible you are, the more people come to you with opportunities, favors, introductions, and quick questions. Most of it isn't malicious. It's just attention theft. And attention is expensive because it's the resource that turns income into assets. Fourth, legal and relationship risk. Money changes the temperature of conflict. Small disagreements can escalate when people assume there's a payout on the other side. If you're the person with the obvious upside, you become the obvious villain in someone else's story. Now, let's make the principle clear. Your wealth isn't just money. It's privacy, time, and negotiating leverage. Silent wealth protects those 3 things because they're what make compounding possible. If you're constantly defending your attention, constantly explaining yourself, constantly negotiating social expectations, you can't do the boring work. Save, invest, build, wait. So what do silent wealth people do differently? They separate identity from assets. They don't tie their net worth to public signals. They don't give the world an easy way to estimate their financial capacity. They keep proof private. Their wins show up on statements and in options, not in status items. You might see a calm lifestyle. You won't see a constant need to validate it. And they choose low-drama environments. Fewer public arguments, fewer public promises, less online performance. Because once you make something public, you inherit an audience. And audiences come with maintenance costs. Now let me show you exactly how to implement Rule 1 this week with a simple exposure audit. Make a list of where your money is visible. Start with obvious signals: car, watch, clothes, vacations, restaurants. Then add digital signals: what you post, what you like, how you talk about income, how quickly you mention purchases. Add talk habits too. Do you announce raises, wins, new clients, new deals? Next, rank each signal on 2 scales: risk and benefit. Risk is, does this attract attention, requests, pricing pressure, or conflict? Benefit is, does this meaningfully improve your life, your health, your relationships, or your ability to earn? Now cut the high-risk, low-benefit signals first. Not because you're hiding, because you're allocating exposure like an investor allocates capital. Then replace outward signals with inward systems. Automate saving and investing where you can. Keep basic insurance in place. Build an emergency reserve. The goal is simple. If life gets noisy, your financial foundation stays quiet. Now, common mistakes. 1. Confusing privacy with secrecy. Privacy is controlling exposure. Secrecy is hiding from accountability. Silent wealth still pays bills, keeps promises, and treats people well. It just doesn't broadcast capacity. 2. Overcorrecting into scarcity signaling. Being private doesn't mean being cheap in ways that damage trust. You can be generous without being loud. 3. Announcing goals early. You get praise now, but you pay later in pressure and distraction. Keep goals quiet until the result is real. If you remember nothing else, visibility should be an intentional choice, not a default. Once you reduce exposure, the next leak is internal. Ego spending. And that's where Rule 2 starts. Rule 2. Kill ego arbitrage. Stop buying approval, buy leverage. Rule 1 was about lowering your external exposure. Rule 2 is about the internal leak that keeps you stuck even when you earn well. Ego arbitrage is when you trade long-term leverage for short-term approval. You buy something mostly because it changes how you're treated. And the cost isn't just the price tag. The cost is the compounding you don't get because that money now has to sit in public. This clicked for me when I realized most upgrades aren't upgrades. They're commitments. A nicer car often comes with higher insurance, higher maintenance, and a stronger social expectation to keep winning. A bigger apartment raises your fixed monthly burn. And once your burn goes up, your freedom goes down. So the better method is simple. Stop buying approval. Start buying leverage. Leverage is anything that gives future you more options. Skills that raise your earning power. Ownership that produces cash flow or long-term equity. Durable systems that reduce mistakes. Relationships that are real and mutual, not transactional. Here's the rule you can use. If an expense doesn't reduce future stress or increase future options, it's suspect. Not bad, suspect. It needs to earn its spot. Now, a quick framework you can reuse every time you're tempted to upgrade. First question. Does this expense lower my future cost of living or raise it? A purchase that lowers future costs buys freedom. A purchase that raises costs demands future income. Second question. Does this create optionality, or does it lock me into a fixed monthly burn? Optionality is being able to say no. Fixed burn is being forced to say yes. Third question. Would I still buy this if nobody saw it? If the answer is no, you're not buying the item. You're buying the reaction. Think about compounding like planting a garden. The seed is your surplus cash. The soil is your time and focus. Status spending is digging up the seed to prove you planted it. The seed never gets a chance to grow. So what do you do instead? Use a quiet upgrade plan. Upgrade what's invisible but powerful. Raise your savings rate. Clean up high-interest debt. Build an emergency runway. Stick to basic diversification if you invest, so one bad outcome doesn't wipe you out. This is not flashy, but it's what makes you hard to break. Then set a public-facing ceiling. Decide what your visible lifestyle will look like in a bad year, not a good year. If you can maintain it when income drops, it's a lifestyle. If you can only maintain it when you're winning, it's a trap. And build a private opportunity fund. You want liquid reserves for downturns and unexpected chances. That's how silent wealth people move fast while everyone else is stressed. Common mistakes here are predictable. 1. Thinking frugality is the goal. It isn't. Control is the goal. 2. Chasing complexity to feel sophisticated. Simple rules executed consistently win. Now let's close this out, because the full system is just these two controls working together. The key takeaway is simple. You build wealth faster when visibility is intentional and spending buys leverage, not approval. If you're serious about long-term growth, hit subscribe now. If this analysis is helpful, give this video a like. And comment, which visibility tax are you cutting first, and what system are you putting in its place?